All right, good afternoon to you so much. Thank you for staying with Night Nigeria Info. I hope you've been a bit of the conversation from the morning cross of what's happening in Abuja, the sunny side show top with the vocal majesty at one of Nigeria Info, Swat Adalumo. And this is where we welcome you to Hard Facts. Wuli, Kimberly Wachukwu Kim, the Oracle, the Oracle OTF, Mika, the fellow, and one of Nigeria Info. And I will say, yes, excited to be here with you this afternoon. The weather is perfect, and the net protest that was organized by the Nigerian press apparently went seamlessly. There are no reports of any sort or disruption of any sort to call for concern. I know some people were a little concerned if we're going to have a breakdown of, stuff in different parts of the country, but it was properly organized. And so the National Assembly gate that pulled down just felt like it was pretty normal protest. And some are wondering if it gained enough in any way to get the government to reconsider, and asking, does this the Nigerian Labour Congress, as a matter of fact, what it takes to sustain this? Because they're saying that the outcome of this protest would determine the longevity of it and go from here. Do what it takes to sustain this protest. The tempo high enough to sustain it day 2 and day 3 and build something else, enough for the government to respond in the way that they want to do it. What time will tell. And we'll be talking about our guest and more on the show. Yeah, just to let you in that Dr. Jide will be joining us on the show. No, he would not. He's on an assignment out of town. We have a very capable guest joining us. He will not be here. He'll be joining us virtually. But will be so you get to see him if you're on YouTube and Facebook, Nigeria Info Abuja, that is. We have Mr. Jide Ojo, a public as analyst, who will be helping us look at big stories driving conversation this afternoon. You want to stay tuned in to let's see if we have our guest already joined for our conversation. Find out in a second or two if our guest is here with us. We can get started. Just so you know, we will be streaming live Facebook and YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, search out Nigeria Info Abuja. If you're on Facebook, Nigeria Info Abuja is the same handle to look for. All right. Just give us a second or two to with our guest and we'll get the rolling. Stay with 95.1 Niger. I have been duly informed that guest is online, and so we'll bring Mr. Jide Ojo on for our session. Mr. Jide Ojo, I don't know if you me, please let us know if you could connected. Good afternoon, sir. Okay, I think we have that connection. Just give us a second.
Recording in progress.
Right, so that. Hello.
I can hear you.
That is good. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. And welcome to the Roundtable. All right, so feel free to join us on YouTube, Facebook. Our guest is there. I will look at the stories together. Let's start off with the NLC protest, a major part of the country, from Lagos to Abuja to Imo to Edo. The protest held today. We're dealing with semantics. The Nigeria National Judiciary is saying you cannot strike. However, this protest, and we saw the one of the test. How long this protest is going to go for? No one for sure, because the NLC is saying the outcome of today, they would determine what happens next if the protest will continue, or this is it for today, and then what comes out of it at the end of the day. I'm curious, sir, to get your thought on the impact you think if any protest has made, and is it even enough to get the government to recon some of its policies, because that's what the NLC is making. Anti-people policies in terms of the fuel subsidy removal, the likes of it. Is this enough to get the government to rethink? The National Assembly dialogue is doable, but we know they've been dialoguing for a long time. When subsidy was mentioned at one point with the last administration to remove it, the NLC TU dialoguing with the government up until this very moment. So one would say it hasn't changed much. Twisted the government in any way to not remove this subsidy. So what does one do? Let's get your opinion on this, Mr. Joe.
Okay.
Recording stopped.
As it was, the hello.
Yes, go ahead. Can you hear feedback from your end?
No. Okay. I'm just trying to monitor Prosperial TV.
All right then.
Recording in us.
So finally, we are here. The long proclaimed protest is underway, and it's concerning for me that we'll get to this point. I wrote in my column, I think I shared it, I'm not too sure, but I praised a press speech of last Monday. I did identify that, of course, as the president admitted, there was a lag in between the time there was a pronouncement of no more subsidy and we are trying to deal with palliatives. So if there have been some preparations, if we had put in place the course of dialoguing, if we put in place, it seems second batch of the ministers from what I'm anyway. That's just by the way.
Yes, I can. Go ahead, sir.
So I was trying to give a breaking news that the chief.
Hello, Mr. Ojo. Hello. Okay. I think our connection has been. Go ahead, sir.
So I'm saying that Jamila come with more ministerial nominees for what I'm monitoring. But I know not the question you have asked me. I'm saying that the right thing has been done at time. If we have monitored, if we have ensured.
I think we're having some detection challenge with Mr. Ojo. It's also placing fan on. Yeah. The challenge seems to be coming from your end. It seems. Go ahead then. Yeah. Okay. Is properly connected. The conversation continue. The big question is, do you think the protest gained traction to get the government to rethink its policies, especially the one around the removal of subsidy? Because a lot of people will say subsidy is gone and gone for good. We start to adjust to the new reality, the better for every single person. Others are saying, well, the suffering in the country is intense and the government do something about it. Well, we had the president, the Nationwide brought out on Monday, and he had so much to say about measures, the palliatives that will be rolling out to cushion the ease of the subsidy removal to a set 3. And I know that the NLC put out a statement that that is not what we're hoping for. What really is Niger is hoping for, that it will be reversed altogether. Can the government do this point in time? Well, it's been done before you, sir. During President Buhari's admin, they will say subsidy is gone, and then it changes to under recovery, and a subsidy is back on the table. It's not altogether impossible, but won't we be going round and round in circles? But then is the palliative that the federal government is put sufficient enough to sort of cushion to a certain degree in Nigerians to just weather the storm of the subsidy removal, as a result of subsidy removal, that is? So that's something to look at, to seeing if the protest at the Labour Congress made an impact at all, how the government is going to respond. All right, Mr. Jide, it seems you're back. Head, sir. We seem to be having a challenge with connection.
If you can hear me,
I can.
Is that first, I gave a breaking news that new ministerial names have been submitted by the Chief of Staff, Abadabia, to the President of. That's the update of Ministerial Screening. The issue of
all right, there we go again. Well done.
But I'm hearing you very clear.
Go ahead. Hello? Mr. Jide Ojo?
I can hear you.
Go ahead. Well, we can't hear. I can hear when you say you can, but nothing after that.
Pastor. I'm trying to be loud and clear so that we have clarity. But it may be the network is opposite.
I see
But
that.
what I'm saying, you hear me? What I'm saying that I'm not, and I will not support you to spending trillions in terms of subsidizing PMS. True. I don't think that's able to the contrary. The president in his speech that we have saved over 1 trillion because of the last 2 months of subsidy, and I believe that kind of resources channel to improvement of infrastructure.
Right, talking about resources into improvement of infrastructure, and that the NLC did point out government is saying they've saved $1 trillion. All right, let's go on a quick break. I'll be back with us.
Business to a level. Is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Hello, my name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the Get Stories Back conversation every day here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Facts Show. I love to get your opinion and conscious, but the facts you cannot dispute. Here, Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Country where demands are made on the government to reverse some of their policies. And we're asking, is this protest significant in terms of the impact it's making or intending not for the government to rethink the policies, or would this just be flash in the pan and we're done with it? As itself, hopefully was and for something to just give it life. Has it fizzled out, or were there gasoline to the fire to continue the protest until something gives? That's what we're talking about. I guess we have other to look at. Mr. Ojo? No, sir.
I can hear you.
Yes, okay. The Lord behind. If we just get your thoughts, yes, you were talking about not reversing there's no point for us to go back. But that's what the demand is. That is anti-people policy.
It's not anti-people. This is people policy. The issue of subsidy has been for 30 years. And I feel, infographics of how much spent on subsidy is to more. If we have done earlier, I think what we should fight for, what we should be demanding, a matter of right, is to say when can our refineries work, when is Dangote going to start producing, when are we going to see the rollout, the notes that we received from the president, when shall we start having grain, 200,000 metric tons, when will it be available in the market, how will it be shared? Going to be prorated across 36 FCT, or is Kano more than Nasarawa, is Nasarawa more than ATT? That's what you'll be mindful of. Having to take government feet to fire. demand accountability and transparency in these 500 billion economic relief packages. That is what that's what I weighed in on my column in the Punch today. I must have shared it with you. I don't know if I have time to read.
I haven't.
That is where we need to. But to say that, okay, let's go back to subsidizing this fraud scam called petrol subsidy, I do not support this opinion. I feel that what we ask, and by the way, also be mindful of the fact that PMS subsidy is being removed. And still other forms of subsidy that is
such as
used. For instance, when we're saying we are going to give in to small, medium, and medium entities, or to mega businesses, 1 billion naira for 75 people. Did you know that the interest rate, the raising interest today will be about 20%? But the president, we are giving this loan at a maximum of 9%. So who is going to offset the one that will have made it to the rate? That is starting in itself. You know, all these economic relief packages are subsidies in themselves, in a way. But that's the only way to protest is to go back to looking for...
But like you said, no timeline was given by the president, even during his broadcast, as soon we get to see some of these things happen. And if you feel the pulse on the average Nigeria, people are growing out of this. So it's a matter of... That's where some of the criticisms are coming, that the president was too hasty to remove the subsidy, some of these things in place, that total buying of people before subsidy. So it feels like putting the cart before the horse at this point in time, which isn't the most popular.
I acknowledge that. But the people should not be on Buhari, they should not be on Tinubu, but should be on Buhari. I'm referencing already documented, which is for public consumption, that the thing that Buhari did in the 18-month period of 18 months intervening, he signed the Industry Act on August 2021. And recall, Kim, the then Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Silva, said, the president signs that act bill into law, there would be the same of fuel subsidy. It recounted that the government has decided an 18-month period within which to grace period of 18 months, and such government will still endeavor to subsidize until June 2023. Now, is what did we spend 18-month grace period to do? We went to borrow from Exim Bank of China 1.5 to fix the Port Harcourt. We were told that the Port Harcourt will be ready by December of 22. This is the third quarter of 2023. The Port Harcourt is not ready. They went to borrow additional $1 billion to fix the Kaduna refinery. That's not ready. Then we were believing that we will hit the ground running. When it was commissioned in the last week, it told us that the program will start latest by the first week of August. Now, the week of August is where we are now. We'll be updated by the government or Dangote himself when we should expect the first liter of the fine petroleum products from refinery. Because these are things that need to cushion and bring down the cost of the gasoline. If we do not, the president did that in his speech, that although we are doing that it was needed. I don't believe that was well managed. We were with the only three things that Buhari did was, one, to give 40% equity to federal government workers, two, to fix the refineries, three, to what is it? To this one that he did last. Three things, but we found it enough. As at the time, we were looking at June 20 as exit day from refinery, exit day from day. Why did we order 1,000 buses that Tinubu to buy between June 23 and March 2024? Why did Buhari not give it to take those CNG buses? Is it CNG buses are just being manufactured across the world now, not available? Could we not have used the month period to bring in 3,000 buses and have a transition? The whole issue of 200,000 metric tons, is it that now the farming season is when those grains will be able? Why didn't we have all this in place? And Buhari should be blamed, not because Buhari is petroleum industry, was placed a timeline, a deadline on the exit of subsidy. That 8 months period, if the need was done, if the whole conclude by the packages have been ironed out and put in place, after all, Gabashe was telling us that the white subsidy was not removed, was to avoid APC to lose 2026. So if they can afford about 7 to 8 trillion between August 21 and 2023, why then could spend a fraction of that to import CNG buses to incentivize the state? All the economic packages that President Tinubu is talking about July 31. Why was that put in place by the Buhari administration?
But then this wasn't a conception of the Buhari administration. The president did set up a committee, and perhaps that this is the outcome from the committee put out for the bill.
No. Don't. That's the committee. As of yesterday, if you look the Labour and the federal government met, I said that this is the other president was just like pulling above the feet of labor union to give their a no meaning. What I'm saying is that our things. We remember that the committee that is headed by the chief of staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, they are to any conclusion on what to do. There are still a lot of flips. I think this was just something that I thought it would roll out very quickly, pacify the rising to can't fail now. It is. There was a committee that Buhari set up to look into this, which I believe must have also been transitional documents from Buhari. If we have done the need, I agree that it's like using your. We seem to have put the cap behind. But again, having found ourselves in this situation, how do we go out? Saying the best way is to avoid the disbursement of the billion economic relations that has been that the president mentioned in local, and then fast track what to be done for the labor for the workers. And by workers, I'm not saying only federal workers, but state government. After all, we have had Opus Odima saying he has increased the minimum wage for IMO workers to 40,000 minimum wage. We are seeing some measures being Lagos State government was yesterday or to go talked about 50% class in the transport fare by BRT, 45% by the yellow buses. He has also talked about food packs, that there will be food pack distribution in local government regions and worship centers. All are part of the things we are talking about. The state governor, Abuja was talking about missioning about 100 buses for the transportation challenge in the state. But what I am saying is the last administration left for the incoming administration. Ultimately, the work of the administration inherited huge debt. There was empty treasury. I mean, if I'm to put it bluntly, it was empty treasury handed over to TIP.
But the president hasn't come out to say that.
Oh, I didn't come out to say that. The Buhari has not said that they were spending about 90% revenue to service debt.
Now, I'm saying that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government hasn't fully that indeed an empty treasury. Say for what we compute to saying, okay, if there's a 77 trillion that has been left behind for to inherit and all that we know, government itself hasn't acknowledged the fact that this is the situation they're in. Perhaps the thing, one party handing over to, and so you don't want to cry wolf any time. It would have been different if different political party they were handing to.
They want to appear like an into to Buhari. He has come out bluntly to say an empty treasury. There is that tendency in Northerners to feel that, oh, this is an English. We made him the president trying to do, even for the Ministerial and to achieve power. You know, Osho's protest, like he's trying to dismantle everything that Buhari has done. And that's why he needs to manage that situation more cleverly. So, but we know that the handed over to Tinubu was an empty treasury. Even though he didn't come out to say they are owing 7 trillion. If somebody owns a house, the whole house worth maybe 200 million. That's a debt profile of 1.5 million with banks and financial. Will you still call that man with this man? The answer is there. But yes, he is living in his own personal house already is mortgaged. That's already, he has used the finance to collect 1 billion naira loan. But the account is just worth 200 million. So this, will you still call that person a rich person? So this scenario, that's the anecdote I can draw. That's the I can draw about Niger situation. We are owing 77 trillion. What we are even generating as revenue is being used to service the over 5 trillion naira. What is the debt servicing ratio of our budget? So we are spending almost as much as our budget. Capital expenditure, spending almost equal as the budget for capital expenditure to service our debt. So by this standard, even without an accountant, without being a financial, you know that Nigerian situation is economically bleak. If you have to go out of that, you have to be crazy. The president said that much. I did quote him in my article today. He said he wished there were other ways and reduce the suffering of Nigeria, except removing the suffering. But there is no other way. That he feels our pain, wants us to support him. But what I'm saying, he had billion that he has told he wants to spend it, and effectively oversight the thing, so much so that we don't allow this money to be diverted. There will be 100 billion by 3,000 units of buses, 20-seater buses. There will be a billion to farmers to cultivate wheat, cassava, maize, and sorghum. And we oversight that this spending is judiciously made. We ensure that only a need of the money are beneficiary of those loans, and that so when they collect these loans, they also pay back. Over 1 trillion naira, Ministerial Screening was spent on alcohol program of Buhari administration. Please, make it alive. Let's ask him how much 1 trillion has been paid back by the farmers who are beneficial. And that's why I'm saying in the paragraph of my article today, it says that it is very hard for us to know, given the very bad statistics of people loans, can we ensure that is going to benefit from this loan that the president have announced and have collateral if the loans are disbursed to them, so that the government, all this money goes as a bad debt with some cost.
All right. Tokyo, if you're just tuning in and was just highlighting some of the palliative measures spelled out by during his broadcast on Monday about the new national minimum wage that they're on, and once they arrive at a figure, it's implemented. How soon that is, we're not sure. He talked about 125 billion naira for the MSME, of about 50 billion naira to provide grants to 1 million nano business by March 2024. 774 local governments receive a minimum grant of 50,000 naira, benefiting a total of 100 nano business owners in the area. Also talked about additional 100,000 SMEs and startup will receive support through with a budget of 75 billion naira. Entrepreneurs can access ranging from 500,000 to 1 million, a maximum interest rate of 9% annum with a repayment period 36 months. So Joe did mention that also. Also, we talk about food to ensure that food remains. The government will release 2 metric tons of grains from the strategy to household across 36 of the federation. Further 200,000 metric tons of fertilizer seed inputs will be provided to farmers to the nation's food security agenda. At the twilight of the Buhari administration, we didn't have enough. If the president says he's going to release 1,000 metric tons, I confirm if we even have it. We had a picture paint that's 200,000 metric tons, because it feels like we're up to that in terms of grain, but I will find out. And
but then you are sorry, Kimberly.
Okay.
But this Buhari administration to showcase rice pyramid for us in Abuja. Where is that the rice pyramid today? I'm asking the question. About 1.9 trillion. That's let me do a Google check. Over 1 million was spent on alcohol program. Where are we with food security? That huge spending. Because $1 billion that Buhari is talking about, it's like a quarter or 1/5 of what Buhari claimed to have spent between 2015 and 2023 when the anchor program was initiated. So we have over 1 trillion and we see food security. What assurance we have that this paltry 200 billion that is meant to make 500,000 hectares of wheat, cassava, and all of that. And I've also queried in my submission last week when I issued food security, where is the administration going to get 500,000 of land? The federal government do not have. It's only state government that have land. And if you recall, the Buhari administration, when the National Livestock Transformation NLCP, he actually asked the governors to buy land for the kickoff of that NLTP, National Livestock
Transformation Program. But governors said, particularly Southeast governors said they don't have land, federal government for LTP. It's only NASA, maybe Kaduna, about 4 or 5, where they I know Kogi also made this on land, where they said they were as pilot. The government does not have land. Where does they intend to get 500,000 acres for which he wants to make available cultivation of all these grains that he said is going to be amassed as an appeal for the corn? And more so, now they are talking of fertilizer seasons that this is like season for farming. Because it's harvest season, for those of us who know little about farming, already maize is out, tuber yams are already, new yams are already in the from July, August, this is the harvest. So more or less, we have mid-year farming season. If democracy is not quickly solved, because how we can do starting from August, farming starts around March, April. Nevertheless, like I said, we can look at these things available as the next year farming season. All right.
We need to oversight exact disbursement. Who are the benefits? They have due diligence in screening the benefits. Is it the people who are deserving that got this eventually? And the president was even silent on the issue of 800 million for conditional cash transfer. He was saying that 8,000 are given to 12 million out of over.
He came back to saying they would review it.
He came to say that they should review it upwards. But he was silent.
Did he say it upwards that they were going to review it? And at that point, state were saying it was going to be at the state level. It's a bit opaque. They stood where they left off at that in terms of what the review translates in. And like you pointed out, there was no emphasis on that during the broadcast on Monday. So
that is part of the reason I'm saying the labor should not be taken on back. It is for the reinstatement of subsidy. I would never support that.
All right.
I may be the only one, but I would never support situation back to subsidize this sport. I think Isa Yuguda coming to say that people who knew that they are collecting is fraudulent.
But Mr. Ojo, should we be listening to politicians who make this same statement over? I mean, if you're looking at it from John Patricia, we're talking about a cabal and a group benefiting off of it. And the country capable of prosecuting one to find anyone at all. I mean, it's lack of seriousness if we keep talking about this mysterious group of people who are country dry and do nothing about it.
Quite honestly, that's the scenario we found out. But more importantly, let me flag this, and this is not the only topic for discussion. Let me flag it that I just hope, I pray that stop oil theft. Now, under the immediate past administration, we were losing almost a daily oil production to oil theft. As of September 22, by the meters of the NNPCL, we could only produce 900,000 barrels of per day. That was our boss to the extent that we have to engage in battle to help us to the Niger region. But that, unless we solve that challenge and we are able to get revenue leakage, because whatever is turning is case in our finances is a revenue.
All right.
And that's part of what the labor should have demanded, how to solve this conundrum for theft.
All right.
That has set us back and made us to be impoverished.
All right. You're putting a lot of responsibility on the labor on what they should do. This demands are for a very long time, and apparently the conundrum is not a challenge for us. Well, let's run through some quickly before we look at another state. Kende on YouTube says, always a delight listening to you. Thank you, Kende. Mary Defon. Mary from good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in. Savior, I hope you're doing well. I'm okay. All right then. Asu Peter, NSS was successful and our messages delayed. Wait for 1 week response from the National Assembly to those who pray for the rain to fall the protest. Obina Ozoemena. Good afternoon, Kim. Greeting from the erudite city of Aba moment. Thank you so much for listening to us from Abaji. Joseph Donald, instead of giving physical cash to Nigerians, why not invite the maturing or manufacturing, I'm sure you meant to say, another sector economy to create jobs. This policy of giving cash sustained. Igwe Obes, Tinubu should use all the money to share to build refineries. And Ibe Ned, my humble opinion today is that the NLC protest overdue. Your guest is now blaming Basim Buhari that spent 8 years blaming. This is ridiculous. I not told us how the corruption that forced subsidy on its news we end up not doing to subsidy for SMEs. Now is now or never. Edwin from Clem says, good afternoon. I'm fine and well. Work is good. I want to say inflation is really skyrocketing and not finding things easy at all. Just urge Tinubu to do the needful as we are suffering. It was on our Facebook page. On WhatsApp, Jacob from Kabusa is not looking at the untold hardship poor people are passing through. Is it the citizen that the refineries are not working? Your guess is on the issue of subsidy. I disagree with him. Harry is to be blamed. Let Tinubu go after the past administration be held accountable. Masses cannot continue to pay for the of the government. Let Mr. Ojo know that are being lost. Prices of things are rocketing. Must we die before native? Salasi said, okay, it's a different one. Good afternoon, Miss Joelata. Friday has Mr. Ojo switched. They look like he's now okay, favorable for government. Was Mr. Ojo expecting to give loan to small business owners at 20% interest rate? I think the 9% very high. Lastly, Mr. Ojo, that our energy sector, what energy sector is enjoying today? A lot of blaming of the government, which Tinubu was an integral part of up till today, told Nigerians how much he met. It be annihilated to the Patriot. When Ayowo says, what excuse is your guest giving us? Not know all these things before he took over. What stops him from arresting those that need instead of making the people suffer? Is the question he's asking. Tinubu, I disagree with your guest that we should not be rather Buhari. Tinubu promised to continue Buhari stopped. Where Tinubu's plan to cushion the impact of subsidy in Nigeria? How long does it take mass public transport for Nigerians? Palliative provided GEJ removed subsidy in 2014. Tinubu refused to attend interviews, so we can ask him when and he will solve Nigerian problem. Mr. Godwin, Area 11 there. And please help me remind our guests that's not a scam, but the implementation of the subsidy. Most countries of the world subsidize citizens. Let's not support the government to punish in the name of subsidy removal. Dr. Alex from Gariki sent one in. The reversal of subsidy is not the solution. Our solution is inform refineries. If government has saved more than £1 from subsidy, how much would it cost to refinery? All things being equal, by government can save 6 trillion subsidy. Can this government draw a 3-year plan for refineries? No monetary or food solve the problem we're into presently. Refineries will be an investment problem of fuel subsidy and the multiplier create more jobs. Chima from Mr. Ojo, we need to go on a nick and we'll call you back after. Is that okay?
Fine, that's fine.
All right then. We'll go to break. We'll call our guests back after the news. 5.1 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk about the biggest conversation made of trustworthy ideas, passionately connect everyone. Let's talk Nigeria Info 95.1 Abuja.